David hear us? Have we unmuted for him? David, can you hear us? Good morning, David. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Good morning. We will call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. Today is Wednesday, August 24th, 2022, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. You can join today's board meeting via phone. Dial 971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on the best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click on live broadcast. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining us via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Do we have anyone signed up in the room, or has anyone registered online for public comment?
No.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. No
You're
public comment has been registered for. Okay, we've called the meeting to order. Anyone in the room, please sign the guest list. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bell, will you read that for us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and I should have started out by saying that Commissioner Yamamoto is joining us remotely today, so I will be chairing the meeting. So welcome, David. Good to see you from sunny Henderson.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being able to be here.
Perfect. Okay, so do we have any non-agenda items today?
No.
Okay, we do not. Well, then we're going to jump right into our legislative administrative agenda with item number 5. Discussion and consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Oregon Department of Justice regarding the 2021-2023 State Child Abuse Multidisciplinary Intervention, CAMI, grant program. We should have Under Sheriff Matt Kelly with us today for this. Matt, are you here?
I don't see him.
I am not seeing the Under Sheriff. Is there someone else at the Sheriff's Department with us today who's going to speak to the CAMI grant? Okay, I don't see or hear anyone. Commissioner Yamamoto, are you able to carry that as liaison, or would like to push it down the agenda and see if Under Sheriff is able to join us?
Sorry, I'm doing multiple things here trying to look at this. The county grant is...
Oh, Matt just came on. I think Under Sheriff just arrived. Under Sheriff Kelly, are you ready to discuss the CAMI grant?
Sorry, Commissioners, I was running a little late.
That's okay. No worries. You guys might be a little busy down there.
Before you today is an MOU regarding our child abuse investigations. As I presented before, we have a couple grants that are in process, and this is one of the requirements. It's just an agreement through all the Tillamook City, the Sheriff's Office, and TFCC about our responsibilities and our roles in child abuse investigations. It's a pretty basic MOU, and that's all I have unless you guys have any questions.
Thank you. Are there comments or questions? And I'll start with Commissioner Yamamoto since the camera's pointed that direction.
Yeah, so, Matt, I just have one. So, I'm sure the juvenile department is also involved in this kind of grant. Is that true?
They have a role, but the MOU and the child abuse investigations is really centered around the investigation and prosecution of these abuse cases. They're involved in a close relationship, but it's not a necessary part of the CAMI grant and the CAC grant. They are the ones that we're pursuing.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. Other comments or questions, Commissioner Bell?
I don't have any questions. I'm just great. It's important work, and I'm grateful to the Sheriff's Office for the work they do on this.
Agreed. And the partnerships that work together on this, which are family counseling, city police, et cetera. This is a really important piece. Without this work, we don't hold our offenders accountable, and that's the top priority of what we need to do. So, perfect. Thank you. If there are no other comments or questions, I am prepared for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Oregon Department of Justice regarding the 2021 to 2023 State Child Abuse Multidisciplinary Intervention Grant Program.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to item 6, discussion and consideration of a resolution in the matter of proclaiming August 31st as International Overdose Awareness Day in Tillamook County. Marlene Putman, Administrator at the Health Department, and Rachel Poljeski, Public Health Program Representative, Health and Human Services. And Rachel, I'm so sorry if I just butchered your last name.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Yes,
morning.
I want to introduce Rachel. She is one of our public health program representatives, but she's also responsible for organizing our community events and coordinating our mobile clinic services. So we really enjoy having her with us and appreciate her skill in coordinating and working with partners on events, really important events like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and allow Rachel to introduce herself and to tell you about this important resolution on International Overdose Awareness Day. So go ahead, Rachel.
Thank you. Good morning. Rachel Poljeski, so you gave my name beautiful justice. I very much appreciate that. And I am, like Marlene Putman said, I am with the Tillamook County Community Health Centers. I'm a public health rep, so that means I wear many hats here at the health department. I do event coordination. I'm also here as the Harm Reduction and Syringe Service Program Coordinator. And we are here asking you all to recognize August 31st as International Overdose Awareness Day. This will recognize and support individuals in Tillamook County who are fighting substance use disorders and the people and agencies working to support these individuals. Tillamook County's broad approach to the overdose issue includes partnership between public health, healthcare systems, and law enforcement. The approach focuses on increasing capacity and access to services such as harm reduction, treatment and recovery, behavioral health services, and peer-delivered services. We are also currently working on community awareness, preparedness, and response initiatives related to substance use disorder. We currently have a harm reduction and syringe service program facilitated by Tillamook County Health Department in partnership with Tillamook County Community Health Centers and the Prime Plus Peer program housed with Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Prime Plus Peers attend exchanges providing an important link between available services and the individuals we serve. They provide tangible evidence that recovery is possible. There are multiple agencies that offer medication-assisted treatment as well as behavioral health support. Tillamook is fortunate to have our Tillamook, which is the local opioid disorder resource coalition. The coalition includes many of the agencies that have partnered with us for our upcoming event. Wednesday, August 31st, which is a week from today, we will be hosting an International International Overdose Awareness Day in the downtown Tillamook 2nd Street Plaza from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. The event is a way to unify our county and create a public space for conversations when it comes to overdoses within our community. The campaign aims to end overdose, remember without stigma those who have died, and acknowledge the grief of the family and friends left behind. There will be local resources and local stories of those in recovery shared, as well as a Narcan demonstration and distribution of Narcan kits. We are hoping to encourage and empower our neighbors and Tillamook community members in their response to overdoses. The more conversations we have and the more people who are willing and comfortable enough to carry and administer Narcan if needed, the less lives we will lose to unintentional overdoses. At this event, the resource tables we will have representatives from include our Harm Reduction and Serum Service Program, MAT programs from the health centers, Adventist and Nehalem Bay Health, Prime Plus Peers, Tillamook Family Counseling Center will have a prevention table, Dual Diagnosis Anonymous will be there, Tides of Change, Care, and a new nonprofit that is forming up north called Hugs. We really hope you will all consider the resolution brought before you, and you will also join us next week on Wednesday, August 31st for this family-friendly event. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that. Commissioners, comments or questions? And we'll start with Commissioner Yamamoto.
No, I'm fully in support of this. This is going to be a great event. I'm sorry I won't be there to make it, but we appreciate everything you do here. This is something that, unfortunately, is kind of rampant in Tillamook County. It's something that we need to address, and I appreciate very much the Health Department really addressing this as International Overdose Awareness Day. Thank you again for letting me know.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bell?
I'm also grateful for your work. This is a very serious issue. Addiction is a disease. It has a devastating effect in our community. Our rates of overdose are high, and not only in Tillamook County, but in Oregon and nationwide, our rates of overdose are very high, and it's overdose awareness, in my mind, every overdose we can prevent represents hope for someone who could recover, and that's what's happening. That people can, recovery is possible, but obviously we have to save lives in order for people to be able to recover. So I'm fully supportive of this, and I thought the resolution was excellent when I read it, and so I'd like to read it into the record when it's time.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And I too am in support of this. The Our Tillamook group that Rachel referenced started back, I think it was in I know our strategic plan was done in 2020 for that group. But that group was funded originally through a HRSA grant to really look at opioid use specifically in Tillamook County. And there were some very startling and frightening statistics at that time. And I wanted to share a couple of those because it was really looking to say, is this a problem for Tillamook County specifically? And the answer came out, yes, it was an extreme problem for Tillamook County. So according to the Oregon Health Authority, opioid overdose and misuse data between 2012 and 2016, Tillamook County had the highest rate of drug overdose deaths from all opioids than any other county in Oregon. Between 2012 and 2016, we had the highest rate of deaths from all opioids. Tillamook has a significant problem, has had a significant problem for a long time. So the work that's being done now through our Tillamook, all of the partners there, the health department, public health, it's crucial in our community. Tillamook County ranks second of 36 counties in Oregon for drug overdose. So that's huge from all drugs. So that includes not just your opioids, that's all your drugs. We have a significant problem, and so bringing this to light, bringing it to our community, really taking that stigma piece and working with that, because it is, as Commissioner Bell indicated, it is a disease, it is not a moral failing, and I think that's one of the key pieces that we as a community have to take to heart and put into how we address this. These are folks who have a disease, and we want to help them treat that disease. So I really appreciate you guys bringing this forward to the community, bringing an event forward where people can come and learn, because that's the most important thing we can all do as community members, is to learn more about it, learn how we can be part of the solution. I'm excited that the Narcan is available. I know it's being used widely by our law enforcement and others in our community, and I think for all of us to know about that is really beneficial. So I thank you guys very much, and Commissioner Bell, if you would read the resolution, and I think that would be great.
In the matter of proclaiming August 31st as International Overdose Awareness Day in Tillamook County, Oregon, this matter came before the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners on August 24th, 2022, at the request of Marlene Putman, Administrator, Tillamook County Health and Human Services Department, in collaboration with our Tillamook Family Counseling Center and Oregon Health Authority Prime Plus peers. The board, being fully apprised of the records and files therein, finds as follows. 1. Tillamook County does affirm and acknowledge the harm and hardship caused by overdose. 2. We affirm that the people affected by overdose are our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, and deserving of our love, compassion, and support. 3. Oregon Recovers reports that Oregon is the second highest untreated addiction rate in the country and ranks 50th, last place, in the nation for providing access to treatment. 4. Substance use disorder costs the state of Oregon $6.7 billion annually. 5. According to the Oregon Health Authority's reporting system, state unintentional drug overdose reporting system, unintentional opioid deaths have doubled since 2019, killing more than 600 Oregonians last year, with countless more affected forever. 6. Tillamook County encourages the support and collaboration within local established coalitions like our Tillamook, because this epidemic looks different in various parts of the state, and local engagement and leadership is imperative. 7. We recognize the purpose of International Overdose Awareness Day as a global event held annually on August 31st. This day is to remember those gone too soon from overdose deaths and ending the stigma of drug-related deaths. 8. The Tillamook County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim August 31st as International Overdose Awareness Day in Tillamook County, Oregon.
Thank you. If you're ready for a motion.
That is a motion.
Okay.
To you,
Hold
David.
a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? One thing that I forgot to mention is our Tillamook has a website that I encourage anyone who would like to learn more to visit, which is ourtillamook.org. So, sorry, we finally had further discussion. We always ask that question, and we never do. So, okay, hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Marlene and Rachel, for being here. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you out on the 2nd Street Plaza on the 31st.
And Rachel, welcome and nice to meet you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Just a moment, if I may.
Yes.
So, in case you see me here, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. My computer is acting very strange. I lost all of my video, although I think you can still hear me and see me.
Yes,
That's correct.
So I don't have access to my agenda any longer, nor any of the PDF documents. I'm trying to bring that back up. So if you see me scrambling behind the screens here, I can still hear, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move on to item number 7, discussion and consideration of a challenge cost share agreement with the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, Forest Service, and the Siuslaw National Forest for the Sand Lake Recreation Area Derrick Road repaving project. We should have with us Chris Laity, Director of Public Works. Are you with us, Chris?
I am. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning.
The U.S. Forest Service generates money by timber harvest on federal forest land. And throughout the country, they have resource advisory committees. They have been on hold for the last number of years. Last fall, it came back to life, and money is allocated amongst different counties in order to do some improvements to Forest Service access roads and Forest Service land. The money isn't dedicated specifically to the county, but a portion of the Siuslaw National Forest would be dedicated to land within Tillamook County associated with the forest. So the Siuslaw National Forest RAP, Forest Advisory Committee had put that back out. They had put out a grant request in last fall. And I actually sit on the committee. So when that request was put out, we looked at what are projects that they typically funded in the past? What are the dollar amounts that have been typically funded in the past? And internally, we were looking at projects that, number one, serve the Forest Service, because that's one of the requirements. And we were struggling a little bit to find something that would be a good fit that would actually meet the need and stay within the dollar amount that we believe we could reasonably go after. The Hebo Ranger District had contacted me about the Derridge Road dispersed camping and the status, the how good Derridge Road was, in particular the road going into their dispersed camping. So you read the background information. Derridge Road access is a very popular U.S. Forest Service dispersed campground and ATV, UTV day use area located within the Sand Lake Recreation Area and is a vital recreation destination to Tillamook County. Visitors to this area provide for a very large increase in the tourism economy of the local communities. Sand Lake Recreation Area has two main access points. The main area is accessed via Tillamook County Galloway Road and the second, the north access point, is at the Derrick Road Dispersed Campground by Tillamook County Derrick Road. And this is the specific location where our grant's about. This north access point is used for public and emergency vehicle access and provides access for camping services that includes trash removal and therefore must meet the specifications for emergency and waste removal access. So the Hebo Ranger District, who manages the Sand Lake Recreation Area, they were running into an issue where the solid waste, they were starting to get into difficulty in picking up the waste in that area. And it was the road within the dispersed camping area that was a significant problem. So Hebo Ranger District contacted us to do a joint application for this RAC grant. And we had done the numbers and we said, no, this is what we can do, is we could provide the labor and equipment if you provide the cost of materials. So the cost of materials in the fall of last year, we estimated just shy of $50,000. The grant went through the process, and it was subsequently, when I sat in on the committee, this is one of the projects, because it fit the dollar amount, that we were awarded that project. As it continued to advance, I reapproached the Forest Service, and I said, hey, this, cost of inflation's really gone through the roof. Is there any way we can throw some more money at this? So while they couldn't increase the cost of money that they are going to reimburse us for the price of asphalt, what they could do is separately is they're going to spend another $7,000 on asphalt, but it will be a direct purchase from the supplier of the asphalt. So what this grant is for reimbursing the county $50,000 for the cost of asphalt. The county goes in and paves the last of the county road, Derridge Road, the last of Derridge Road, the portion that's county, and we'll continue our paving operations into the dispersed campsite, up to where the garbage vessel, the container, the pad is located at, in order for them to be able to remove trash out of their site. Our county match is purely labor and equipment. So it's $50,000 for this one. On a separate, another $7,000 that is Forest Service will pay directly to the supplier. Any questions?
Thank you, Chris. Commissioner Bell, we'll start with you this time since the camera's pointing this way.
I don't have any questions, but thank you, Chris. This is a great partnership. Thank you for facilitating the cost sharing and also for advocating for extra funds for asphalt, given the rate at which the cost of asphalt has increased, which is astronomical. So I think it's win-win all the way around. We'll get the paving done, and the Forest Service participates, and we get to share the cost. So I think it's great. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner Yamamoto. Any comments or questions?
Thank you so much. I agree with Commissioner Bell completely here. Chris, you're thinking outside the box. When money's become available, and get together with the appropriate partners and find something that needs to be done, apparently the Forest Service understands it needs to be done. And then when costs go up due to inflation currently running at almost 9%, I mean, again, you find ways to do these things. The U.S. Forest Service is a great partner, and I appreciate everything you're doing here, Chris, I really do.
All right, thank you. And I'm in agreement. I think, whenever we can find outside funding to help get the things done that need to be done in our county, that's a win, and the partnerships as always. So I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a challenge cost share agreement with the United States Department of Agriculture, Forest Service, and the Siuslaw National Forest for the Sand Lake Recreation Area Garrick Road repaving project.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Chris.
much, Chris. Okay, number 9, discussion and consideration, of a prevailing wage contract for construction with C.R. Woods for the Manzanita Transfer Station West Wall Improvements Project. David McCall, Solid Waste Program Manager. Good morning, David.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. So as you know, we have been preparing and planning for significant infrastructure improvements at all 3 of our transfer stations. Several weeks ago, you had approved, so we went out in Manzanita is the one that is most furthest along. We had the engineering documents, the bid documents, we went out to bid, and several weeks ago, you approved a notice of intent to award a contract for the West Wall improvement projects at the Manzanita Transfer Station to C.R. Woods. And what this is the actual contract signed by the contractor and waiting for your approval. Construction is scheduled to begin in September. So we had several weeks of time to prepare this and go about it because of we didn't plan to start construction until after we're finished with this busy summer season. That said, I don't know if we'll ever be finished with it. It's just, we'll die down a little bit. But so I would request your approval of this so that we can move forward with this project.
Thank you, David. Commissioner Yamamoto, questions or comments?
So I think this is great. I see Rachel has reviewed it and signed off on it. And Bill, I think you reviewed the contract and you find it sufficient?
Yeah, I'll sign it later on, David. I reviewed all the agenda items and approved them previously. Everybody's really good about shipping them to me generally.
Thank you, Bill. Commissioner Yamamoto?
Perfect, yep. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bell, questions or comments?
I do not have any questions, but I'm excited that this work's going to get done. So I'm encouraged. We have been talking about it for a long time, so I think it'll be great.
Perfect. I agree. I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a prevailing wage contract for construction with C.R. Woods for the Manzanita Transfer Station West Wall Improvements Project.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to item number 9. Discussion and consideration of an out-of-state travel request for Sarah Absher to attend the Northwest Regional Floodplain Management Association Conference in Vancouver, Washington, September 19th through September 22nd. And we are presenting Sarah Absher, Director of Community Development. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much. Yes, so actually I'm just going to consolidate my comments for the next 3 agenda items in the introduction and explanation for this request. So as you know, floodplain management and effective management and administration in Tillamook County is critical to remaining in compliance with local, state, and federal laws. This conference, which is the Northwest Regional Floodplain Management Association Conference, is actually an extension of FEMA, where myself and others go as certified floodplain managers to get our continuing education credits to maintain our certifications. The reason why this request is before you, even though it's 2 hours from home, it's in Vancouver, Washington. So That's, why we're here this morning. But the conference is September 19th through September 22nd. Both myself and Melissa Yank as CFMs need to go so that we can maintain our certifications and keep our certifications in good standing for Tullahoma County. With that, Sheila Shoemaker, who is also part of our planning team, has been studying independently to take her Certified Floodplain Manager's exam, which is a very difficult exam to take. Melissa has been helping her study. Having her attend the conference this year as well is the next step in preparation for her to take her exam. Given the level of floodplain and regulations we have in our county, in my opinion, it is critical that all planning staff members have that certification and understand the laws and regulations around construction in flood areas. So it is the request for me to attend this conference. Melissa and Sheila actually also received a scholarship. So for her attendance is on scholarship. So for her, it's for travel and lodging that is part of this. So yes, so the first one is for me. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Sarah. Commissioner Yamamoto, questions or comments?
Yes, I just want to say that Sarah is right on here. We need as many certified floodplain managers as we can get in Tullahoma County. Again, we are probably the most affected county of any in Oregon that really is affected by floodplain. And I'll share your motive here, and I can say this because I don't think there's anyone from FEMA listening in on this conversation. But I know Sarah, as well as maybe our attorneys in the BIOP issue, are going to attend, and I think they're going to try to have conversations with FEMA to see exactly what is going on with the North Fisheries FEMA BIOP. And Sarah, I wish you the best of luck when you do that. But yes, having a third now certified floodplain manager in Tullahoma County is going to be a tremendous boost to community development because almost everything we do today is near or touches a floodplain. So it's important that we do this, and I would appreciate support very much for all three of these.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bell?
I agree with Sarah that this training and expertise is essential to Tullahoma County planners. So I'm glad that you can go, and I think it's terrific that Sheila Shoemaker is going. She's studying for the certification, and that she got a scholarship. That's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I agree as well. Definitely with the amount of applications that come through community development that, as you have stated, are in or touch a floodplain, and therefore require an additional level of review for an additional level of rules. I mean, it's amazing the time that goes into that. So having 3 people in the department that all have this certification ultimately is going to be fabulous, and keeping up on it with the conference is necessary. So appreciate that. Yes, Sarah.
And a side note is that when we are working towards our improved CRS rating and program, we will actually, for all of us being certified, that will improve our points and may actually reduce flood insurance policy costs for our community members. So that's another incentive to make sure we keep doing this, is because there's actually benefits to our communities as a whole.
That's great.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for that information. I think that's helpful for all of us to know, right? How we support our community has so many benefits. So thank you for that. I think we are ready for motion. We will need to take these one at a time, but I assume we will not need discussion between.
Madam Chair, I move approval of an out-of-state travel request for Sarah Absher to attend the Northwest Regional Floodplain Management Association Conference in Vancouver, Washington, September 19th to 22nd.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move approval of an out-of-state travel request for Melissa Yank to attend the Northwest Regional Floodplain Management Association Conference in Vancouver, Washington, September 19th to 22nd.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I move approval of an out-of-state travel request for Sheila Shoemaker to attend the Northwest Regional Floodplain Management Association Conference in Vancouver, Washington, September 19th to 22nd, 2022.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you, have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 12. Discussion and consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Oregon Timber Counties Coalition. Commissioner David Yamamoto.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate that very much. So this is a memorandum of understanding for a rather new group. This is our second year in OTCC, the Oregon Timber Counties Coalition. And the way this came about is that AOC has a Natural Resource Steering Committee. A subdivision of that is the CFPLC, the Council of Forest Westland Counties. And there was a federal timberland steering committee also under the Natural Resource Steering Committee, and that has kind of dissolved. There was a little disagreement between the eastern Oregon counties and the western Oregon counties when it comes to federal lands. On the west side, federal lands are much more earmarked towards timber production, National Forest Service, BLM, ONC lands, things of that nature. Whereas the eastern Oregon counties really are more concerned about grazing and things of that nature. So it is unfortunate, but the AOC Federal Timber Steering Committee has gone away. And so this Oregon Timber Counties Coalition was formed. It started with 6 counties, I believe, and we were one of the originals. Basic dues were like $15,000. Being a smaller federal timberland holder, Tillamook County and Polk County got together, and we split one due, so $15,000. So we each paid $7,500 a piece. And in the interim, we had added 2 additional. So the original counties in OTCC were Coos County, Douglas County, Klamath County, Polk County, and Tillamook County. This year we have added Curry County, Marion County, and Lynn County. And we're continuing to talk with other counties to also become involved with this. So this has really proven good for Tillamook County in that we have a lot of SRS, Secure Road Code, and PILT, payment of those taxes, both coming in from the federal government for our federal lands in Tillamook County. And many people don't understand this, but basically from Tillamook north, that's pretty much all state forest land, along with some private land and a smattering of BLM land. From Tillamook City south, it's almost all federal timberland, U.S. Forest Service, BLM, ONC, as well as private timberland. So even though we don't have a lot of federal timberland, it is well worth our time. We are able to contract with Jay Sullivan as a lobbyist, and he gets a lot done for us in Washington, D.C. And if you talk with Rachel and or Sean, there are some decisions we're going to have to make very soon about our PILT dollars. No, SRS dollars, I'm sorry. And so we're getting a lot of help, not only from ONC land, but from OTCC. So I know it's not a lot of money, $7,500. I think our return on investment here far exceeds the amount of money that we're putting into this organization.
Thank you, Commissioner. Questions or comments, Commissioner Bell?
No, thank you. I read the memorandum of understanding, and I think it's fair and a reasonable price and an important coalition.
Yeah, agreed. I wish that we were not in a world where we had to all have paid lobbyists in order to interact with and be treated fairly by our federal legislators, but in fact, it's very important to have our voice heard at that level, and being a part of this coalition helps us do that. So I think it's, again, it's a necessary and useful item. So I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Oregon Timber Counties Coalition.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to item 13, discussion and consideration of a letter of support for Community Rocket for the X4 Community Engagement Grant, and this is one that I will carry. So a couple of years ago, actually about a year and a half, right after I started as commissioner, so about almost a year and a half ago, we had an opportunity to engage in a process with a consulting team called the Rocket Process, and it was specifically to look at homelessness in Tillamook County and to really determine what was the key thing that we needed to do, or things, what were the top priorities that we should be working with around those experiencing homelessness. And out of that process came the need to develop a low barrier shelter and the need to develop a broad coalition of stakeholders to meet regularly, which is called a continuum. And from that work, that really led us to receiving House Bill 4123 funding, the $1 million that we have talked about, to lead to a coordinated homeless services system. So it's all very exciting. The work that we did really set us up to receive additional funding, which we now are in the process of putting the structures together and moving forward on. The Rocket team, the consultant team that we worked with, reached back out to me a couple of weeks ago and said they have another funder that they are going to, and they would like to work with us again if they're able to get this grant. So the first process was paid for completely by a funder outside of the county. It was a foundation, and so it didn't cost us anything to work with the Rocket team and to work out that proposal. So they are once again coming to us and saying, we have another funder. We think that will be interested in funding our work together. And this one in particular would be to help us with communications with and engagement with the community as we move forward with implementing this House Bill 4123 plan. Because House Bill 4123 is asking us to do a 5-year strategic plan to address homelessness, which means we will be looking at services and gaps, and we will be looking at filling those gaps. And we know that homelessness is a very challenging issue for our community to talk about, as it is for any community to talk about. And as we look at citing things like this low barrier shelter, potentially transitional housing, variety of different services that will be needed to help those experiencing homelessness, our community is going to have concerns. And we're going to need to work hard to get education out to our community, to listen to our community, hear from them, engage them, and have the entire community really understand the plan, what we're working toward, and how that will all roll out. So in the event that they get this grant, they would provide us with a fellow for 18 months to help us with community engagement and outreach to get that information out. So it's a great opportunity for us in our work to be further supported, and again, by a funder that doesn't have to come out of Tillamook County's pocket. So it's a good opportunity, and I'm hopeful that we can provide a letter of support for their grant, which is what's in front of us today. So questions or comments, Commissioner Bell?
I am absolutely in support of the letter, and I'm excited about the program. It's essential to the work moving forward. I don't speak for my fellow commissioners, but I probably could in saying that people reach out to us several times a week. People reach out to me several times a week, at least 2, sometimes more times a week, to talk to me about homelessness in Tillamook County and to ask, what are we doing about it? Why is it happening? How come there are so many more homeless people here now than there were 5 years ago? Where are they coming from? Where are they living, etc.? And what are we going to do? So that's the work before us, and we absolutely need, as part of that work, to be able to communicate to the community all of the answers to all those questions. Not that we have ready answers, but to be able to tell people where we are in the process. So I think this is great.
Thank you. Commissioner Yamamoto, comments or questions?
Thank you. I do agree with both of my fellow commissioners, this is an important issue. We don't like to think about it happening in Tillamook County, but unfortunately it does happen in Tillamook County. The state is not making our plight any easier. We're not allowed to move people off of public property unless we have somewhere that they can go to, which creates additional problems within the community and creates a lot more angst also. But either way, moving people off of public property it's not an answer. It's really not. So doing what we can, and this is not something that we're going to resolve this month or next month or next year. This is going to be a long process, but we are making terrific progress. And Commissioner Starr, I just need to hand it to you. You are doing great work with housing in Tillamook County, not only for those that don't have housing, but for those that need housing, that are working and can't find a place to live. And again, I've had this discussion before, the creamery, the hospital, the county, community college, teachers, firefighters. It's difficult to hire in this county because people want to come to Tillamook County. It's a beautiful place to live. But unfortunately, many can't take the job because they can't find a place to live. So it runs the gamut all the way from those that don't have a home, that are living on the streets, to executives that want to come to Tillamook County and can't, again, because they can't find a place to live. So again, this is one piece of that, and I appreciate every step that we can make to improve the housing situation in Tillamook County.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a letter of support for Community Rocket for the Times4X4 Community Engagement Grant.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. All right, thank you. Okay, item 14, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the dissolution of the Mid-County Park and Recreation District. Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In February 2018, the Board of Commissioners signed Order 18-023, which formed the Mid-County Park and Recreation District. The boundaries are the Tillamook School District number 9 boundaries. In June of 2022, we received a resolution from the district requesting that we dissolve the district, citing issues with debt accrual and management and board vacancies. There are 4 reasons in ORS 198-940 that allow for the Board of Commissioners to dissolve a district. And this was a district that was formed without an election because there was no permanent tax rate. There was an election for board members, but you formed by that board order without an election. So one of the reasons in statute is if the district fails to regularly elect district board members in accordance with the principal act of the district. So because of their issues with recruiting and finding board members to serve on the board, that's the primary reason that's allowed by statute that we are able to proceed with the dissolution by board order. So there's several things that need to occur to present to you this board order, and one of them is the district providing a resolution, which they've done and is attached as an exhibit. And additionally, they need to submit the findings of fact and proposed plan of dissolution and liquidation, which is Exhibit C, attached to the board order. The plan of dissolution and liquidation essentially states that the debt to Tillamook County, their only debt is to Tillamook County totaling $3,786.36 incurred from the election, and this is a number provided by them, not the county clerk. And their only assets are totaling $1,710 residing in Columbia Bank, and this is a balance of the donation received from Tillamook County Charity Drive. And so they are recommending or requesting in this dissolution and liquidation plan that the debt be wiped clean and that the assets go back to the Tillamook Charity Drive. So we talked about this in a board briefing. I presented their recommendation to you. You seemed supportive at that time to move forward with that plan in the order, and so it is set forth as such in the draft order before you. Upon approval of this order, there is some paperwork that needs to be filed with the county clerk, and then I would send a notice of taxing district form noting this change in dissolution to the Department of Revenue. Even though there's no taxation, they handle that. So it is ready for your discussion and consideration.
Thank you, Rachel. Commissioner Yamamoto, questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you. This was done with all of the veterans pensions. It seemed like Mid-Tillamook County really did need like a park and rec district. There were people that were really wanting this to happen. Unfortunate that they couldn't make this happen. Bringing on board members on a regular basis, things of that nature. I still feel there is a spot in Central Tillamook County that a Parks and Rec district could and maybe should be formed. But it's just going to take a lot more planning, a lot more buy-in from people in Central County. And it's too bad that this one could not make it, but I'm in full support of the dissolution at this point, since it's just not functioning in the way that it should be functioning. I know Rachel's looked at all the paperwork, she developed the paperwork, and I take it Bill Sargent has also looked at the paperwork, and with that, I would be in support of this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bell.
I'm in support of it as well, and I agree with Commissioner Yamamoto that there are a number of well-intentioned folks had great ideas about this, and it's, you know, sometimes we try things that just don't pan out. That's a part of life. You try something and it doesn't pan out. And so this didn't pan out in the way that people expected it to. But there were a number of people who worked really hard on this, and I want to acknowledge their contribution and their service to the community. And also, I heard it said in Tillamook County some time ago that there are a handful of people who serve in many places, who serve on many boards and committees, and that is true of the folks who were on this board. And they worked really hard at it, and they couldn't get more people to join them, and so it just didn't pan out through no fault of any of theirs. And I support forgiving the debt, which is it cost the Tillamook County Clerk's office money to do that process, and so that's a real expense, and I don't want to burden the clerk's office by forgiving that debt. However, it's appropriate to forgive it because the money isn't there. What money is there, I think, appropriately belongs to Charity Drive because it came from Charity Drive, and I wouldn't feel Charity Drive gave that money to the district, and so I wouldn't feel good about moving the Charity Drive money to the clerk's office either. So the money that's there should go back to Charity Drive, and we should forgive the debt because that's really the only alternative before us.
Thank you, Commissioner Bell. And I agree. You know, this was a difficult thing, and certainly if it was organized in 2018 with the pandemic arriving in 2020, that just, I'm certain made it much more difficult to achieve what they had hoped to achieve. So, I agree, a lot of hard work went into it, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for the small group of people that were involved, and it was difficult for them to make this decision. So I think that it is the right move to make, and I appreciate as commissioners that we can support them in this. Their other option was they had to go out for a vote to have the voters dissolve the special district, and that would have then incurred more debt. So this is the best expedient way to dissolve it. So I'm in support.
All right, Madam Chair, I move approval of an order in the matter of the dissolution of the Mid-County Park and Recreation District.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Oh, Tassie. I'm sorry. Tassie, would you like to comment?
Hi, this is Cassie O'Neill, Sonoma County Clerk, and I just wanted to state for the record that on August 10th, I had emailed all of you information about this dissolution, and so I just want to make sure that people know that I did send that email, and that I don't know if it should be part of the record or not, but you've already made your vote, so I guess that will be all that I say.
Thank you, Tassie. Rachel, is that part of the record or should it be?
It is not part of the record, but Tassie, we talked about this at the board briefing last week, and you sent the email because you were unable to attend, and I read your email to the board, so it is in that record.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tassie. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on to item number 15. Discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the reappointment of a member to the Pacific City Woods Parking Advisory Committee. Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff.
Lisa Macy Baker is a resident of Tierra Del Mar, and she's been serving on the Pacific City Woods Parking Advisory Committee, and her term is up. It expired in May, and so we're renewing. She's still interested in participating. She's very active in the group, and so looking for renewing her 4-year term, expiring in May of 2026.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Yamamoto, questions or comments?
I just want to say that Lisa Macy Baker does a terrific job on the PAC as well as so many other areas in South County. She does great work, and again, Sonoma County cannot survive without it. It's volunteers, and the PAC, the Parking Advisory Committee for South County, is a very important part of what's going on right now with the K-Con Master Plan moving forward. So I appreciate everything that Macy has done, and I appreciate everything that Lisa Macy Baker will continue to do, not only for the PAC, but many other organizations that she represents.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bell, questions or comments?
I too am grateful for her service and that she's willing to serve, so thank you.
And I would agree. Ready for motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of an order in the matter of the reappointment of Lisa Macy Baker to the Pacific City Woods Parking Advisory Committee.
And I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. All right, thank you. Moving on to item 16, discussion and consideration of an out-of-state travel request for Rachel Haggerty to attend the 2022 International City County Management Association ICMA annual conference in Columbus, Ohio, September 17th through September 21st. Rachel.
So I'm a member of this association, and I've attended the 2019 and 2021 conferences. The 2021 was in Portland, so that was nice and close. They didn't have one in 2020 because of COVID. I find it very valuable. They do a lot of leadership courses, all the topics you can imagine, housing, community engagement, etc. Working with boards. And so this year is in Columbus, Ohio, and they also have an opportunity to meet with the National County Administrators Group. So I found it to be very valuable. I'm looking for support to go this year to Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you. Commissioner Yamamoto, questions or comments for Rachel?
No, I'm in full support of this. Things that Rachel Haggerty, as Board Commissioner, Chief of Staff, does for the county is immeasurable. It really is. And furthering her education and attending these types of conferences where you rub elbows with all of your peers from all across the country is nothing but a great thing. I do support this wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Commissioner Bell?
Likewise, I'm glad you can go. I'm glad you find it valuable. I'm fully supportive.
And I agree. You know, I think the best practices that we are exposed to when we go to conferences that are outside of our geographic area and get a chance to really talk to, meet with, learn from, you know, people who are doing what we do. It's an amazing way to move forward the services in our county. So I appreciate very much, Rachel, your willingness to go. I know Columbus, Ohio is a ways away. It's going to be a journey given the current airline situation. So I appreciate that you're willing to go.
All right. Madam Chair, move approval of an out-of-state travel request for Rachel Haggerty to attend the 2022 International City County Management Association Annual Conference in Columbus, Ohio, September 17th to 21st, 2022.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thank you. All right, so that brings us to item 17, board concerns or non-agenda items. None for Commissioner Dow. Commissioner Yamamoto, any board concerns?
Well, yes, just be aware between now and the board briefing, I'm going to do everything I can to fix my computer problem so that I'm not having to switch between all these different devices in front of me in order to properly attend these meetings. So I will be working on that diligently.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Technology is fabulous when it works. And
Well,
other than that, it is infuriating. So thank you for hanging in there with us, using whatever means that took. Okay, we will go on then to board announcements. The commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, August 24th, 2022 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held at the courthouse in the Nehalem Room, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. The Pacific City Woods Parking Advisory Committee will meet on Tuesday, August 30th, 2022 at 1 p.m. The meeting will be held at the Nestucca Rural Fire and Rescue Station, 30710 Highway 101, Cloverdale, Oregon, 97112. The commissioners will hold a meeting to discuss the Alderbrook Golf Course on Wednesday, August 31st, 2022 at 2 p.m. The meeting will be held at the Tillamook Bay Community College Conference Room, 214 and 215 at 4310 3rd Street, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. All right, with that, I will thank you all for attending today, and we will adjourn this meeting at 10:02 a.m. Thank you.
Did I have to